in Stamford. I'm in Ireland. And our guest this week will be Luke Harper, who is in Clearwater, Florida.
Wow.
Modern
crazy.
technology, folks.
Yeah.
And Mega Matt is in New York.
Whoa. Yeah, he's not on his little vacay anymore. Although it seems like he takes vacation every other week. Yeah, I've finished my secret project that I can't talk about yet, and I'm stopped in Stamford, checking on some stuff for the ENC show season 2. So exciting! Looks like everything's coming together really good. I think the peeps are really gonna like it, man. It's really coming together. Really proud of it. Really happy. I was going to say some stuff, but I don't want to give anything away. That's why I said it like that.
Don't want to give it away, but it's going to be an entirely different show than it was the first season, which is a good thing. So
yeah, I mean, there's elements. It's going to be good.
It's going to be different.
Did you ever nuts in a vice grip there or what?
Every once in a while, I can hit this weird little pocket, even with all like my throat scar tissue, that I could still hit that one little thing, but I can't sing anything high anymore. It doesn't happen. Can't happen.
I can hit those.
I can find that
notes, man.
I remember.
Yeah, I got a good vocal range.
Yeah. For whatever reason, when we would walk around and wrestle in snowbanks across Orangeville, Ontario, Canada, from one end of town to the other, Jay decided that he could hit the falsetto of Bono.
Yeah.
Only he can't.
Specifically in the song "Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses" at the end. Yeah. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, the end part.
Yeah.
I may do it at karaoke. I may do it at karaoke one of these days.
Karaoke.
Yeah.
So today, August 2nd, while we're recording this, which will drop tomorrow, as the kids say, I didn't realize that this day in 1992, Ron Simmons became pro wrestling's first African-American world champion.
Amazing. Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah. And I think back to that and him working Vader and it was just like in WCW it was I think that's when Bill Watts came in and it really started to take on that old Mid-South UWF feel. And but I just remember that match and how physical it was and how strong Ron was.
Yeah, I remember he picked Vader up and power slammed him. But
man, and with like ease.
Ron was one of these physical specimens. The guy was just naturally jacked and strong. And I remember once when we were on the road early, and he walked in the gym, and he walked in with a paper folded under his arm, muscle shirt, jeans, cowboy boots.
It was in San Jose at the World's Gym. I remember.
Yeah, puts like 4 or 5 plates on the side of a bench press, lays down, bangs off about 8, gets up, puts the paper under his arm, and walks out. It's like
wearing cowboy boots too.
Wearing cowboy boots and jeans. That's how strong this guy was. So he was just a powerhouse of a dude.
Yeah, and I think for newer fans who saw, the Acolytes and then the APA, if they didn't catch that WCW stuff, and even the stuff with Butch Reed earlier with Doom, and their whole series with the Road Warriors, and I mean, man, Ron, take it back even further to his stuff in Florida, and Ron did a lot, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the legacy and kind of the imprint that he left. It broke down barriers, right?
Yeah, didn't he's a
he
worthy Hall of Famer.
Guys responsible. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn. And he's a funny guy too. Like I always got along really well with Ron. And he's just a naturally funny guy. Like one of these guys that doesn't try to tell jokes. He's just funny with the stuff he says.
Well, his timing is impeccable, I think. This is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
But I remember at first when we worked them, it was a struggle because I don't think they wanted to sell for us.
Yeah.
And we had to figure out ways to make the matches work, and that's a point that we'll talk about with Luke Harper is making things that, is this going to work, and somehow making it work.
Yeah. And then when I think they, realized that we weren't just these young kids just trying to get their, quote-unquote, get their shit in, then, it changed. And it was one of those things where they were kind of the veterans, older guys, and one of those things where you had to earn their respect. And once you did, it became a different story.
Well, they were the litmus test. They were, once you earned their respect, then the rest of the locker room was going to, come around.
Right.
And by us working them so early on, it was the best thing that could have happened for us. Highly physical.
Yeah.
But, getting in there, not complaining, doing our thing, and still taking all those bumps.
Yeah.
You earn your stripes, basically. So I just thought that was interesting tidbit about Ron.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, be remiss without mentioning that it was a pretty, what would be pretty heavy week, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Brian Christopher passed away, and obviously our condolences go out to Jerry Lawler and his whole family. We wrestled against Brian a number of times. And
like hundreds,
literally hundreds of times. And we lost the world tag titles to him and Scotty. We won them back from him and Scotty. And they were, the thing about him and Scotty were they were two completely different people outside the ring, but they had this magic chemistry together as a team. And we had great chemistry with those guys too. And it was just unfortunate. And of course, obviously, the way that happened, and it's a tough thing to talk about, because you don't ever want to see somebody go untimely, but especially when you know that they needed help,
There's not much you can say about it except to try and focus on that kind of thing, like the joy that him and Scotty brought as a tag team to so many kids throughout the years. And I know every night that we knew we were going to get to work them, because we worked them when they were too much, before they were even too cool.
Right.
And man, I just knew it was going to be ridiculousness, because as heels, we worked them first as baby faces with them as the heels.
Right.
And they were just wide open.
They weren't afraid to look bad. They would.
No.
Yeah, they worked to make us look good and get cheered, and they weren't afraid to look bad to make us look good. And then when the roles flipped and it was our turn, we in turn did the same thing. We would look ridiculous and dumb and try to make them look as good as we possibly could,
Yeah, it was one of those, anytime I saw that on the card, I was like, okay, we're going to have fun tonight, and it's going to be easy, and it's going to be safe, and it's a shame. It really is. And I was flying over here. It took me like 36 hours, and I got the news right before I took off, and I just, oh man, and it just, I don't know, it really hit heavy.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
tough to hear those things. But, and then, it's like we said, our thoughts and condolences are with his entire family, and tough situation for sure.
Yeah.
And then of course
Nikolai Volkov.
I mean,
legend away this week.
Yeah, legend of the sport. I mean, you go back all the way to when he was one of the Mongols, and he wrestled Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, main event at Madison Square Garden against Bruno Sammartino. I mean, to go back that far, and then to still be around, to be tag team champions, and with the Iron Sheik and wrestling Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event, to segue through those generational gaps,
and to be
too many guys that
and
did
to
that.
be a cartoon character in the rock and wrestling, the Saturday morning cartoon, like all those types of things,
The LJN figure, he was part of that whole emergence of rock and wrestling breaking into the mainstream.
Yep.
He's one of those characters with the hat and and singing the Russian national anthem that an entire generation of guys and girls our age, will always relate back to.
And think about just the heat that generated when he would take his hat off and just sing the Russian national anthem all rise and pay respect to the Russian national anthem. And you knew Iron Sheik was going to do his bit after with the, USA, it was like people hated it and they booed the shit out of it. But yeah, obviously he had a lengthy career, and I didn't know Nikolai at all really. I'd met him a few times, and he was a very nice gentleman whenever I met him. On the handful of times that I did meet him, he was always very nice and very cordial. So obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to his family as well.
Yeah, and Brickhouse Brown, for those that really know their wrestling are going to know that name. And for those that don't, look him up. He was a talented dude, and I think I heard JR say that at one point he was pegged to kind of take over for JYD when JYD went up to WWF. Just a very sad week. That's for sure. There's no other way to put it. It was not a great week and for the wrestling fraternity. Now, today we have Luke Harper on, which, obviously you start thinking about tag team wrestling because of the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah, and you talk about, we just talked about our tag team, matches with Too Cool and things like that. It just,
So this brings me to a point now because
we'll make it.
I'm about to if you shut your pie hole. All right.
Well, fudge you.
No, but okay. So Evolution is coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mae Young Classic is coming up. Now, with all of this female talent now, do you think there is enough of a roster that could support a women's tag team division and titles?
I'm not going to take credit for this, but I am. I suggested this.
There it is. There's the first instance.
What? What'd I say?
What?
I rocket strapped this tag idea at least a year ago. I talked about it. There should be a women's tag team division. I thought they had the talent and the roster to do it, or at least start seriously putting the wheels in motion for it. I think it would be a huge another. I don't know if it's one of these things now where you stagger stuff because you have the Mae Young Classic and then you have the Evolution pay-per-view, and obviously I don't know when is the right time to do introduce these and then do like a tournament and then have like the winner be crowned at like a WrestleMania or something to that effect. Obviously it has to be a big deal at a big event. That could be something pretty big right there.
I'm going to tell you also who had the idea before I ever heard you mention it was Betty Phoenix.
I don't believe it.
The Phoenixed one.
I might have told her that idea.
Off the record. So I guess now it's on the record. But yeah, she mentioned that a while ago.
Betty Phoenix likes to take credit a lot of stuff.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this new attitude. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she thinks she's just a big deal, right?
Yeah.
I just love that she's now Betty Phoenix. And I saw a bunch of tweets this week.
Yeah.
Betty Phoenix.
She's at the point where she's going to have to embrace it. Kind of like when Conan O'Brien got dubbed Coco, he just had to embrace it.
Here's the thing. I think she did because anything that involves Betty White and the Golden Girls, she's in.
Yeah, she digs it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely think that obviously, you introduce the women's tag titles and you set up a tournament and you have a tournament and have it take, over maybe even do it over a series of events. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. That could be an idea too to make it seem like it's a really big deal, and it would be a big deal, it'd be a huge deal. And I definitely think the time is right at some point here in the near future to seriously start considering putting the wheels in motion for women's tag team titles.
You heard it here.
Or unless they wait.
Unless
they wait like another, 15 years or so, and maybe our daughters would be the first women's tag titles. So it seems like a long time to wait.
That seems like a long time to pump the brakes on it.
Yeah.
And plus, if anybody, you have to wait for Ruby, who, because I don't think Larry's going to want anything to do with wrestling.
That's funny.
That's my take.
That's your take.
Yep. That's my take. Yeah. So, how has everything been? I'm over in Ireland, meeting my Irish edge heads, and just walking the streets and being a man of the people, man.
Yeah, I'm. It's good, man. I mean, I can't talk about the stuff we've done. You know that. You're trying to put me on the spot
Okay,
here.
fine. Well, that's what I was trying to do. But you know what? I will say, as tough as it is to be away from my family, I really, really do love Ireland.
Yeah, it's a great country.
It's just, it really is, man.
Yeah.
The people are just so friendly and also have like just a certain work ethic. Like
salt of the earth,
we got a
fella.
job to do. Oh,
what? That was good.
Yeah. Wow.
Matt, was that not good?
It's probably like a 2 out of 10.
I'll take it.
It's better than one.
Better than one.
Better than
I'll
one
take
is
it.
right.
Yeah.
Actually, I was on Twitter the other day, and I saw that someone tweeted at him that they were staring at him on a ferry or something, or a train. What was that like?
No, it was a dude. He was waiting to go on the Dart, and I had just come from the supplement shop and was going to grab a bite to eat. And you know, when you're walking by and you can tell somebody's giving you like that stare, right? You know, you've been on TV for 20 years. It's going to happen at some point. And so I could tell, and I could also tell that he wasn't going to say anything. And then I saw his tweet, and he was like, I just saw Edge, and I didn't say anything. And I told him he should have.
And let's not brush past the, hey, I want everybody to know that I'm in shape and I work out self-put over. You know, it's coming out of the supplement shop, you know, right fresh off the gym where I just, I killed it. And this guy was looking at me.
That doesn't mean I'm in shape just because they're going to the supplement shop. By no means.
The subtle self-put over. The subtle self-put over. That's what that was.
I could have been buying protein bars that are actually basically sugar bars with 66 grams of carbs and 40 grams of sugar and 10 grams of protein. You never know. Maybe I was buying that. Maybe I was buying some PB2.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. But
Jay, has anybody been staring at you on the train or a boat?
Anywhere? Let me see.
I like that it's now a boat.
Yeah.
Somebody stared at me recently.
All right.
Maybe it was just myself in the mirror.
Somebody stared at me recently.
Hang in there.
Don't you got appearances this weekend?
I do, yeah.
So
I do.
All kinds of people are going to stare at you, your stupid little face.
Yeah, I'll be in Norwich, Connecticut tomorrow for Northeast Wrestling on the Stars, where I think Rey Mysterio will be there, and a bunch of other superstars, brother.
Wait, so what day? Friday or Saturday?
Both Friday and Saturday. But I'm in Wappinger Falls, New York on Saturday.
And how is it that
Wappinger. Yeah.
Spit it out. Why am I the one that has to plug your shit?
I don't know, because I'm fucking got a mush brain, man. Leave me alone.
You got the mush brain.
I got so much shit going on. I can't keep track. I need an assistant. Matt, what are you doing?
I'm on it.
All right. You're now my assistant. You're hired. Same fee that you get for this podcast.
I'll see you in Wappinger Falls.
Yeah. I pay your diner tab and let you leave the tip. You're welcome.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pay the diner tab, and I get to see you have very specific egg orders.
Right. Very specific, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, I had a real ordeal. So we were. I was over.
Did you just fart?
No, I was a chair squeaking. I would definitely call myself out if I farted and you heard it. So I was at visiting somebody, and they were cooking a big breakfast for everyone, and they brought the eggs over, and they were fucking over easy.
Oh,
and also the whites
the
were
bane of your existence.
And the whites weren't even cooked all the way through yet, and they're sitting there on the plate, and there's a bunch of stuff around it. I'm like staring at it, like almost heaving as I'm looking at the eggs. But I'm like, I'm not visiting somebody. This is fucking. It's rude to say, hey, you didn't cook these good. And so now I'm staring at it, trying to figure out how to get around it. So I ate like the very edge of the egg white that was kind of cooked, and like basically left like 2 giant uncooked eggs, and I tried to bury them under beans and leave them there. I'm not sure it worked though, but I almost died that day. Just so you know.
You almost died.
I almost died.
Yeah.
It almost took me, but it didn't. I'm still here talking to you guys. Anyway, we're probably boring the shit out of people talking about eggs. we should probably get to Harper. Would you not think?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I'm tired of hearing you talk about your fucking eggs. So yeah.
Fuck you. Let's rocket strap Harper. Let's get this guy fucking going.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
He can pull old Rowan there with him too. Well, we're gonna fucking have to put some jet thrusters on those two big bastards, but we'll do it.
Yeah. All right.
Whoa.
Oh, let's start the strapping. You know what?
What?
I even used a bit of a high pitch there for that. That's how important this is.
Went high.
I did. A great man once said, baseball is the wings of sports. It didn't really make sense at the time, and you know what, to be honest, it really doesn't make sense now, but we're inclined to agree. Because baseball is great, and wings are great.
And you can find them both at Buffalo Wild Wings. And because baseball has pop flies and wings help you fly, all right, we don't know. Maybe the man was saying baseball is America's game and wings are America's chicken. I mean, it makes sense. Just don't dwell on it.
Right, and also have 2 Canadians read this. The point is, we've got baseball. We've got delicious wings. All we're missing is you. Come for the wings and stay for the baseball. Buffalo Wild Wings.
Wings,
Beer.
sports. Yeah, there he is.
Hello.
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 Oh, you sound so velvety and jolly.
I'm in Florida, so I'm happy.
Hey, it's Thursday. You know what that means.
You tell me what it means. 'Cause
I don't know.
I have no clue.
I don't either.
Oh, the tweets. Yeah, you're all as they would say, cryptic.
Cryptic or just started something that I now can't stop. Either way, I risk myself.
But I just love that buzzword, cryptic. You're so cryptic, man, with your beard and your crazy eyes and your tweets.
Yeah, beard, crazy eyes, 2 kids in a normal family.
Your dirty shirt.
Real cryptic.
Yeah.
So how's it going, buddy?
By saying thank you to Edge for taking care of me so well in the last couple of weeks. And Jay, you've done nothing for me.
What?
Nothing.
Hold on a second.
He does nothing. No, you just settle down, Birdman. You just sit over there for a second, and you just, so it's Jay's fault that, us having you on got derailed before. That was his
2
fault.
weeks. I mean, this is 2 weeks in the making.
Wanted to have the proper build for it.
Fair enough.
When Jay started the podcast, he said, "Oh, we got this idea where we're going to bring guys on that have, good matches, and like bring them both on, and they're going to discuss the match." And then he quickly goes, "If you ever have a good match, maybe we'll have you on."
What a dick!
I did say that.
Well, and here's the thing, you know almost as well as I do and better than most in the locker room, Jay is just a dick. And now all the listeners of this podcast fully understand it. They know it. They call him a dick.
It's mind-boggling that he's as well-liked as he is.
And that's debatable.
I think I'm more put up with than liked.
Yeah, there. Okay, that's good. That's true.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. So I think that the proper term would be internationally known, locally respected.
Locally?
Yeah. My hometown.
What, your neighborhood?
Orangeville. Yeah.
Oh, Orangeville respects you. Even
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that. I've been back to Orangeville. I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Your hometown or your fake one now?
Yeah, exactly. And your fake team, the Lightning.
Whoa. Speaking of fake teams here,
I
somebody met Stevie Y the other day.
did. I met Steve Eiserman on Tuesday evening, and it was quite the thrill.
Yeah.
Bit of a mark-out for myself.
Yeah. We talk about hockey a little bit on this podcast. So Steve Eiserman, Hall of Fame hockey player, general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's a big deal.
Yeah, he looks like an accountant, but literally one of the best players of all time. It was pretty awesome. We actually ended up talking for 10, 15 minutes. He's a great guy.
Did you talk him into trading Kucherov to the Leafs?
They're trying to unload Callahan, and he's from Rochester also, so we kind of talked about that, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I didn't want. I just said, we don't need him. We'll take Cooch though.
Yeah.
Now, Eiserman, I got to say, was always one of my favorite players. Him and Sakic, just because of the way they played the game. I thought they were classy players. They didn't mouth off. They just played and kicked ass. And not physically, but just with their game. And I always appreciated those two. So that would be a guy that would definitely I'd do a little bit of that. Whoa, that's Stevie Y. Fucking slingshot, you know?
The guy's like, hey, are you interested in meeting Steve Yzerman? Like, it was no big deal. And I was like, oh, yeah, please, God, please.
It's funny. I remember one time I was backstage in Tampa, and someone said to me, hey, do you want to meet John they actually said John Gruden, but I thought they said John Druin, who at the time was a player for the Lightning, and it was the third overall pick like that year. It was kind of a big deal. Turns out, honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal, and he was kind of the shits. And they sent him packing in Montreal, but at the time he was a big prospect, right? So I was like, hell yeah, I want to meet John Druin. So I walk around the corner, and I was like, where is he? They're like, he's right here.
And it was John Gruden.
It's John Gruden. I went, I'm good. I turned around and I walked back.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah.
You don't want to meet him.
No.
So you met Stevie Y. You got to go to a Foo Fighters show, and that's where my hookup.
That's where
my hookup comes in. Jeez. Yeah, just Jay got the hookup too in London Stadium. So don't even Jay.
I didn't need you to hook me up. I got my own hookups.
I've heard all about it. Heard all about it. How glowingly people speak of Adam, and not so glowingly people speak of Jay on the cruise.
Even at the Foo Fighters concert, I got slagged. Oh my God!
It's across the board, Birdman.
It's a pretty memorable experience, actually, and I surprised my wife and didn't tell her until we got there, and just kept driving. She's like, "Where are we parking?" We just kept going and going and going into this, and then finally it said backstage parking, and she said, "What the F are we doing?" We're going back there. So it was awesome. Nice. So many thank yous, and she loves you now. I don't know if she did before, but she does now.
She probably painted me with the same brush as Jay. Yeah. But that's awesome. No, I'm glad you had a good time.
We should talk about this though, just briefly, and then we'll move on from maybe Foo Fighters and hockey talk. But we should say this: even for as much as you don't really like me as a person, we're bonded by the fact that we're Toronto Maple Leafs fans, even though you're from Rochester. And I was always like, when you told me, I saw you walking backstage when you first came in, and you were wearing a Maple Leafs shirt, and I was like, oh, you're a hockey fan. And you told me you're a Toronto fan. I was like, how'd that work, being in Rochester and a Buffalo fan? You're like, hell no. I'm like, all right, I think I kind of like this guy.
There's nothing about Buffalo to like.
Yeah.
The city, the region.
Oh, see, Betty Phoenix, the Phoenix one is going to be hot. She's going to be fuming if she ever listens to this.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one thing to like about Buffalo.
Okay, so enough about the Foos and hockey and everything. Where do we start, Birdman? Where do we start with Big Luke Ski?
Well, I mean, let me tell you this about old Luke Harper. And I think that we both have talked about it quite a bit on this podcast, that we both think you are supremely talented, first of all. Obviously, the stuff you do for your size is impressive. And I also like the story that you have. Like, you wrestled for so long before you got to WWE. And I remember you and I having a conversation, just us one time, talking. And you were telling me how you were about to quit the wrestling business and like become a trucker, and then this kind of came up, and like it's funny how it all plays out. Like, you were this guy with talent, and you had opportunities and tryouts before, and it never worked out. And you're at that point where, look, I have a family to support. I have to move on. I have to do something. And then this came up, and you took advantage of it, and here you are today. So I just always really liked your story, and I'm glad that didn't happen, and that the world got to see how talented of a guy you are.
Well, thank you very much, and that's by far the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Well, it is true, though. We've talked repeatedly on this show, and I hate the term underrated. I hate the term underutilized or whatever, but I've always said that, to me, you're a guy that could work Taker at Mania. Like that's how good I think you are. And I think in any time you've been given a shot, whether it be in tag team, whether it be in singles, put you in ladder matches, you make it work. And to me, you're a very believable big dude. Obviously, there's the comparisons to Brody, but more than that, because you can do topes and all kinds of shit. And on this show, we've put you over quite a bit, so it's nice to finally have you on.
Most of the time, when I get tweeted a quote from your show, it's only by you, though, Edge, not.
That is actually true.
Christian put me over. I appreciate that. And to Jay's credit, he gave me some of the best advice I could ever have in WWE, and that was whatever they give you, just do it as best you can and make it you, and just do it as good as you can, no matter what it is, whether it's standing backstage in a backstage vignette or in a match for 20 minutes. Just do it the best you can and make it yours. And I've tried to do that for the last 6 years now, and I feel like I've succeeded quite a bit.
Yeah, you really have, because from the Wyatts to singles run and ladder matches with Dolph and IC titles, and then back into the Bludgeon Brothers, which is a completely revamped thing. The music, the hammers, the masks, you definitely took that to heart. And part of that too is when you don't have the 20-minute matches and you only get a 3-minute match, and still somehow going, okay, there's something that we can pull out of this, and something to be remembered by.
Right, and I've tried to make it a thing where somebody in WWE needs me or wants me there, and if I do my job well, then that becomes a thing, and I just try to make it a reality, I guess, and just try not to get released,
You're doing a good job of it. It's funny too, lately.
That might be my favorite quote ever on this podcast. Just try not to get released.
It's funny too, because like you said, there's a lot of ebbs and flows in careers and things like that. And I remember when you had that ladder match with Dolph, and just thinking, man, this sky's the limit for this guy, like seriously. And I remember us talking a little bit before you had that ladder match and watching it, and it just like you said, being able to be put in any position, and that getting that confidence of management that they can trust you in any position is an important thing.
Right, and that ladder match turned out way more violent than either of us intended. And I don't know what became it. I don't know why, but watching it back, it's probably my best one ever, and I almost killed Dolph several times, so credit to him.
He's like Gumby. He's like plasticine. But him
and Moose have never been hurt, and I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, me neither, honestly. Jay was like that for years too. Jericho was too. It just, some guys, it just works that way. I remember watching that match and just thinking, on paper, I don't know how this will work, and then just watching it and just being blown away. And it was also in that time frame where I wasn't really back watching wrestling yet, and I saw that, and those were the kind of matches that started pulling me back, and it was really, really good stuff. Really good stuff.
We both got staples, and another funny story from that is I texted Jay, I think a week earlier, and he said, well, I think for some advice, and he said, well, I think some of my matches are on the network. Was his advice.
That's great advice. Yeah, just watch my matches. They're on the network.
Yeah. I gave you good advice for that match.
You did, actually.
Yeah.
You want me to watch the network?
Yeah, that's it. No.
See, I was already gone out of the locker room by the time a lot of you guys came up, so I never really got to, be on the road with a lot of you guys. And Jay was one of the old grizzled war horses that was still there to be able to, pick the brains up. But also, before I forget, I want to mention the series that you guys had with the Usos, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those two guys are not only two of the best guys in the world, I think they're two of the best workers in the world, and they've reinvented themselves again.
Yep.
And I love working. We work with them on the road all the time, and I cannot say enough about those two.
Yeah, they're like you said, great guys, great attitudes, but it's so key to be able to reinvent yourself, even if they're minor tweaks. But with them, with you, these are major like tweaks to the character, and then finding your feet in them and making it work.
You have to believe in the character and not like try to push against it as much as push into it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like more accept it and just use it for its positives than and trying to be negative about it.
It's a great attitude because it can be hard there sometimes. It can be really hard to not take that mindset.
And the more you fight against some things, the more it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes too, if you embrace something and I told you before, like no matter what it is, take it and make it the best. Yeah. The best that you can make it, and or if, like I said, if you're standing backstage, be the best guy standing backstage. Be the best of all the ones that are standing there. So, if you take that attitude, you never know what it could turn into. But if you're just like, oh, well, this isn't for me, and just kind of half-assing it, it's not going to turn into anything.
Exactly, and then you're fighting against yourself. You're fighting against management. I mean, come on, it's not. And it took. I mean, don't get me wrong. It took me a while to learn that because early I wanted to fight against things and. Oh, I feel like a background dancer here in the back of the wire. But, man, looking back now, I wish we could still be doing that. I'm on TV every week, plenty of TV. You know, it's like you got to look at some of the positives of the situations.
Without a doubt. I remember when they first told Vicky and I that we were going to be an on-screen couple, and they kind of threw it at us right as we were about to film this live to the audience, and it was in Tampa, and Vince goes, I want you to kiss, and we were just like, what? And I was immediately like uncomfortable because of Eddie, and I was like, whoa, what? I got to wrap my mind around this. And man, Vicky just went, we can make this work. And I was like, yeah, you okay with this? And we're like, okay, here we are, let's do it, and let's just fully dive in and make ourselves the most hated couple in the industry, and if you do that, even if on paper at first you go, I don't know if this is going to work, you can make it work. You just got to find the ways to do it.
Exactly. And then there's a sense of accomplishment and all that too, where you're just like, man, I made it work. And there's people out there like, oh, this will never work. Well, years ago, me and Rowan were told we were done. We're done. We're done being a team. We've done everything we can. And we're here 5 years later in a whole new thing, and we're tag team champions. So I can't complain.
Yeah, which crazily enough, you didn't get the tag titles as the Wyatts.
No, the Usos beat us repeatedly.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Usos dynamic, just going back, touch on that, I think the dynamic was really good too, right? Like, it was believable that you guys, when you got your heat on them and they sold so well, and then when they were trying to fight from underneath and come back on you guys, like the dynamic was just there. And, you guys knew where each other was at all times. Just, it was great chemistry, touch on that. But also chemistry-wise, you're talking about you and Rowan. I mean, you guys have great chemistry together as well. And Rowan is a pretty underrated big guy himself, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how big he actually is.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's huge.
He's taller than me, and he weighs 340 pounds. And so, I mean, he's a legitimate monster. I'm sort of a fake monster. He's a legitimate monster.
Well, he's of the size that any generation you put him in, he's a monster. In the 80s, he's a monster, and that's saying something.
And it helps with us because now, this many years later, we've kind of we're not worried about getting our shit in or who looks better or who's going to get. We rib each other about that constantly, but deep down, I don't think we're worried about it. And it helps the team get over more than an individual.
We've talked about this a lot, where in order for a team to work, you have to commit. Like we talked about, finding the positives. You got to make a team work. You can't fight against it. You have to lean with it and go, okay, here we are. We're in a team. We can really make this work. We can be the best team on the roster. And
if I sit there and go, oh, I'm going to do all my stuff and I'm going to get over, it's detrimental to the team, which is what WWE wants right now. They want me in a team. So here we go. Let's make it the best we can. And maybe there'll be a time when I'm not in a team, and then I'll worry about that.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And now the way you guys have reinvented it again, it's it's totally different than the Wyatt family, and it's badass. It's a throwback. It's like, it's kind of LOD. It's kind of, but it's distinctly your own. The music, the kind of the Viking vibes to it, the barbarian vibes. It's all really, really cool and fits your looks.
Rowan couldn't be more pleased that it's Viking-like.
I bet. Minnesota kid, right?
Oh yeah, he loves it. But that's, again, like, we're presented with this idea from Vince that we want you guys to carry these giant mallets around. And instantly in my head I go, man, it's 2018. What are we doing? And that lasted about a fleeting second, and then I said, oh, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's the whole presentation of it. The first time you guys came out, I just went, whoa, okay.
Well,
I'm invested. I'm in.
Well, here could have been the issue too, right? Like, I mean, the Wyatt thing was really big, and the whole Wyatt family, the entrance, the whole presentation of it, the appearing, at a thin air type thing. All those elements were amazing, and as a unit, sometimes it's hard to separate that unit when it gets to be a big deal. So even though you guys are separated and apart, you're still coming out in the jeans and the wife beater shirt, and he's still coming out with the mask and the whole thing. And it's like, yeah, they're still part of the Wyatt family, but they're not. So it's like, it's hard to separate that when it's essentially the same characters but just separate, when people kind of dig the whole group. So it's actually, in this case, like, it's still in the same realm what you were doing, but you're completely different and you're presented different, so that visual isn't there of you being like, oh, no, they're still the Wyatt family. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah, people can't just look at us visually and go, oh, there's the Wyatt brothers,
Yeah.
I haven't heard them in a long time, actually. And I used to hear it all the time, to your point, when I wore jeans and a wife beater.
Well, it's funny, we had Gangrel on the show a little while ago, and he brought up a point that Jay and I, it kind of blew our minds and we never thought of. He said the Brood had to break up because we're only together for 9 months. He said it had to break up or it was going to catch on too much, and it would have been too hard for you guys to do your own thing after. And the Wyatts, the Wyatt family caught on huge, like it was massive, and you guys had some years in that. So the fact that you guys have been able to transition away from it says a lot about what you're doing now. I think, too, you look at the tag team roster now, and it is stacked. I mean, just amazing teams all over the place. That's got to be exciting.
It's the best. And, like, when you look at the trades and stuff and you see these guys coming over, like, I get to work with Claudio all the time, and it's like, man, I've been waiting to do that since we were on the Indies. So stuff like that. And every team has its own thing going, and nobody's much alike at all, except Sandy's kind of like the Wyatt family, but we'll just keep that to ourselves. And
nobody heard it. Don't worry.
But, yeah, every time we go to a show and you look at the card, you're going to have fun.
I mean, and so if you're looking at it and you've worked the Usos, so obviously you're going to love doing that because of the product that you guys produce together. But who else on the roster do you see and go, man, I can't wait to either get back in with them or to kind of tackle that one for the first time?
The New Day and the Usos are by far two of my favorite groups to work ever. Anybody in the New Day I love. And, again, with the Bar, we haven't really done anything with them, so it's even exciting to think about what we can do with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably just beat the shit out of each other for real, but But yeah, those three right there. And then even with like Sandy with Eric Young, I worked with Eric on the Indies a couple times and had some of my best matches. And I mean, for him to come back around now in 2018, it's exciting for me to think about that, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he's got a great story too. Just how long he slugged away and just stuck to it. There's a lot of possibilities for you guys right now, and it's really cool. Even when they put Team Hell No back together for a pay-per-view, and you can do that with you guys because you can believably get in there with Kane and stand toe-to-toe with him, and there's not a lot of talent size-wise that can do that,
Right. When we get pulled aside, and told, oh, you get to work with Brian for a month, Brian Anderson, it's like, oh, this is what I have to do for work? I get paid to do this? Cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's been my best year professionally by far, I think. And so yeah, it's been great. So I'm sure it'll end soon now that I said that.
I wanted to ask that. You said something about this being the best year, and I kind of want to back all the way up and be kind of all over with this place, but be all over with this conversation. When you were talking,
there's no plan, Birdman. That's
no,
what we
have no plan. Tell us a little bit about the leaner times, like I said, when you were about to, kind of pack it in and get a real job. Like, tell us like the thought process there, because it's hard when you have a passion for something and you love something and, you realize at some point, like, maybe this isn't going to happen. That didn't happen to me, obviously, but what a dick. But I'm just wondering, like, I know that feeling, like when you're grinding and grinding and grinding, and you're struggling to make ends meet. I've been there, and like wondering, I never came to the point where I was ready but I didn't have a family, right? So I was just me. So there's that, and what kind of mindset are you in? Where you're like, man, I have to give up my dream. I have to give up on this. Like, what was that like?
And that's kind of, I remember it vividly. I was working for Dragon Gate in Japan, and I came home, and I wasn't making tons of money by any stretch of the imagination, and my wife was 8 months pregnant, and I said, man, I gotta stop doing this, because 6 months earlier I had torn my knee up and was supposed to go for a tryout, and then Joey Mercury called me. He said, can you come down? I said, no, I'm hurt. I can't. So that just went into thin air, and I was like, oh, well, there it goes. And then came home, told her I think this is it. I'm just going to, I got to, like you said, I got to support my family somehow. And then, of course, like a week later, WWE called and said, oh, we want to bring you for a tryout. And went down. My wife was now 9 months pregnant and had the tryout, came home, got the call while I was in the hospital having my baby that from John Luke that they wanted to hire me.
Wow.
So, it all worked out, and I'm notoriously pessimistic. So I thought for sure I wasn't going to get hired. My knees weren't good enough. The doctors are going to tell them no, all this shit. You just, I don't know. I like to be negative, because then when something positive happens, it's way better.
That's one way of looking
Set
at
yourself up for the worst, and if it turns out even marginally better, you're okay.
If something decent happens, then yeah, that's good. And then again, even after I had signed and been on the roster and done a bunch of stuff, been an Intercontinental Champion, last year, right after WrestleMania, I got taken off TV for 6 to 7 months. So then again, it became a whole nother realm of struggle for me.
Yeah.
But I learned so much about myself, and I don't know, I looked at things so differently then than I do now.
Those are the toughest times. It's real easy to say it's the best job in the world when, storylines are good, opponents are good, all of these things. It's those times in between, those lulls that can happen that really test, okay, what's going on here? What did I do? Did I do anything? Did I not do enough? What's happening here? You question a lot of things.
And it could be nothing. It could just be you're not in the plans then, and it's nothing you did. But I just tried to my goal was to take the bullets out of their gun. So I tried to get in shape, tried to present myself in a different way, tried to have the best matches on live events, tried to have the best dark matches, just so in case somebody was watching somewhere. And, doing that helped me go home at night and sleep, as opposed to just letting it fester and, they think I'm not good enough. I'm better than that guy. It's just a terrible way to think.
Yeah. I like the way you put that, take the bullets out of their gun.
Who knows if they were even pointing the gun at me, but me taking the bullets out helped me live.
Yeah. Now, you said you're pessimistic, but even after the tryout or during the tryout, you didn't have a sense of, okay, I'm doing good here. Like I'm putting my best foot forward. You didn't feel that?
So if you ever talk to Rusev, he'd love to tell the story of how my tryout was very set up, because I worked Dean Ambrose at the one they taped to send to the office. Because I spent a week in Tampa, and then at the end of that, we just do a match that they tape with Doc, and then they send it away. And Rusev loves to talk about how it was all set up, and because I'd worked Ambrose many times on the Indies, and we knew each other very well, and we had good matches before, so Joey knew that, and so they put me in with him, and of course we had a great match, and so I thought for sure they would be interested, but again, I was 32 at the time, It's not like it is today. So having a name on the Indies was kind of maybe not good at that time. Mm-hmm. And then when I got the call, and then when I had to go to Pittsburgh for the medicals, I thought for sure something was wrong with me because the doctor literally just kept checking my knees. He's like, man, I don't know, they're really loose. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, so I even asked,
you got loose knees, kid.
I was like, is this going to hurt my chances? And he goes, I don't know. And like, so after that, I was like, went home and told my wife, I was like, there's no way. I'm done. That's it. And then, of course, they called. So I was happy.
But kind of serendipity if you think about it. I mean, you're in the hospital. You guys are giving birth. You get that news. It doesn't get any better than that day, I'm assuming. Like, how do you ever match that?
Well, the next morning I went and played hockey. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was pretty cool then.
Day after that, I said, you know what, maybe I should stop playing hockey. If I could sign this contract. Yeah, the timing couldn't have been more perfect. And the other thing is, when Johnny called, I missed the call because I had no reception. And then his voicemail cut his number off. And so I looked up a number, and I called an office. On Google, somebody had registered their phone number as I don't know how, but it got somebody else. It was not WWE. So then I call. So I'm like, oh. So again, I was like, well, they're not going to hire me now. Like, I missed the phone call. And then Claudio texted me Johnny's number, and I called, and it all worked out. But yeah, it couldn't have been a better timing.
Yeah, that's one of those, fairy tale movie scenes right there. You're having a baby, and you get your dream job.
And I also look at my son now, who's now 6. I look at him as like a measure of my WWE career, strangely, because he was born, I got signed, and now he's 6 years later, I'm here, and it's like he's almost a measuring stick of my entire career. So it's an odd that way too.
Yeah. Wow. And I would imagine even flies more so than it normally does, because you always hear people say, well, enjoy it, time flies, and it's like, well, first of all, why wouldn't I enjoy it? I get time flies, but but it does. Like, the cliches are all cliches for a reason. It's because it really does fly by. But you couple that with that schedule, I mean, it's just, has it flown for you? Like, just 6 years gone like that, or is there those moments where you go, okay, it's been a while?
I know it's bonkers how fast it's gone. Like, I think back, we're in Clearwater right now, and I was driving up in Tampa, and to think that 6 years ago I was at that school, and again, when I was signed and in the school, told my wife, there's no way ever I'm getting called up. I said, I'm too old. I'm not in shape enough. They don't want me. I'm bald. They don't need me. So again.
Yeah. They don't need me.
Yeah.
He's follically challenged.
Yeah. Now I just cover them, so hopefully they don't remember.
Yeah, man.
Jay, are you hitting that pen off the table again?
I am. It's crazy how I'm actually up in Stamford right now. And earlier I was driving, and there's a hotel where, when I first came here to do training camps at the studio in Stamford that we used to stay at, and I happened to pass it, and I looked over, and I was like, man, that's so crazy. And it just hit me, like, in this moment that, like, the summer of '98 was when I first came up here to do the training camps and stuff, and I was like, man, that's 20 years ago. It was 20 friggin' years ago. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, where did it go? Like, really, it just, in a blink, it's over. So
You're
you really
old.
you have to enjoy the ride. Like, you really do.
That's the thing. I have to like stop myself every so often. Like, at WrestleMania when we won the tag titles, like, my wife and son were in the front row, my 2 kids, and like, I look and saw them, and like, that's a moment where I can just savor and understand, like, that's really fucking cool. So like, every so often I just have to step back and like understand that, man, my life's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's important to take those moments and really, soak it in, because it is a dangerous job, and you never know when it could end, or whatever, in whatever respect, whether it's, they finally pull the trigger on the gun, whatever it is, it's really important to to take those moments. And I think we've talked about it before, but my last WrestleMania, I didn't know it was my last WrestleMania, but if you watch it, I kind of know. Somehow, somewhere, I take that moment up in the corner and just kind of soak it all in.
Yep. And that's another thing. When I had the ladder match at Mania in San Francisco, I remember Terry Taylor was like corralling guys down the side ramp because they had to get going to the next segment. And I as I'm walking, I see him. He's saying, "Come on, hurry!" And I said, "Give me just a fucking minute." And I just turned around and I just looked at this massive amount of people that had just watched me wrestle.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, really cool. So it's like just trying to take stuff in every so often.
Right? Because what is the smallest crowd you wrestled in front of, you think?
Oh, my God. Zero possible?
I think
-2.
I think Adam and I wrestled in a barn in Tennessee in front of like a family.
Yeah,
once.
I think I've
sitting
done
on bales of hay.
Yeah, and that's truth. That's not even a lie.
When we were in FCW, we used to wrestle just in the arena in front of nobody, like with no noise, no nothing. It was the craziest thing you ever did. I used to despise it.
Yeah, the noise thing really makes it odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to know if I'm doing well.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just awkward grunting and body smacking, you know, and it's it can get a little weird.
Yeah.
So you finally you're down in FCW. You eventually, how does the whole Wyatt thing get? You know, do you guys come up with it? Is it are you approached with it? How does that whole thing come together?
So right after I got signed, I got a call from Claudio, who was already down there. So him, Rollins, and Ambrose kind of helped put it in their ear that I was good and was worth another shot. So those three kind of helped me get signed. So I got a call before I was even signed, before I had medicals, anything. And Claudio goes, "Hey man, I need you to talk to this guy." And I go, "Okay." So he puts Bray Wyatt on the phone, and I've never met him. And this guy talks to me for 20 minutes about this idea he has, and how I would fit in perfect, and how this is going to be great. It's going to be, the best thing that's ever happened. And literally, my head was spinning. I don't know if you ever talked to Bray, but he could talk. So
Yeah.
I wasn't even signed yet. So then, by the time I got down there, like the first couple of weeks, we tried it out, and then we used to do it in promo class for Dusty, and he loved it. And then we got Rowan involved, and then the rest just kind of fell together. Because we shot a couple of vignettes out in the woods where I'm trying to think. I don't know if Rowan was involved yet or not. But we did a couple where he had a family, and they had never really ended up airing them. But
were those shot on your own? Like, did you guys shoot that yourself?
No, WWE actually shot those.
Okay.
At Dusty's behest for NXT, but I don't think they ever ended up using a lot of it until we came up to the main roster and did those vignettes. Then they spliced some of that old stuff in.
Wow.
Again, I could be.
It was also the timing of it was also really cool, just because True Detective was happening kind of after you guys broke, but. I don't know. It was just it was in pop culture, that kind of that weird bayou-ish, kind of swampy weirdness.
Right, and there was no real acts in WWE or anywhere that looked like us or acted like us or I don't know, sounded like Bray. I mean, nobody was doing that. I remember a couple of promos he did in promo class that I was shocked at how amazing they were, and I thought these stories were true. He would tell them so good. So, and it just kind of was a perfect storm of us being different and then making it work together. And we just came together slowly as a team. And when we first started, me and Rowan hated each other.
Huh.
So, really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it was. We just didn't get along.
Big man
and then we were forced to room.
You didn't like he was a couple inches taller than you.
Well, I had lifted too, and he's still taller than me. If you look,
I know, but you stand beside him on your tippy toes because you couldn't take it at the time. The big man heat.
If you look at my some of my old pictures, I clearly tried to put weight on, and it didn't work well. He's a fucking giant, and he snores. So I didn't sleep a lot, and yeah, we just didn't get along. And then slowly, again, that became the realization of, hey, man, we're stuck together. Are we going to fight against it, or are we just going to do it? And it took me a long time to realize that, but when I did, I think it made it work way better.
You talked too about Bray's promos, and the guy really, his promos are just different than anything I've ever heard. You know, they have hints and elements of Dusty in there with a little bit of the rap that he has, but man, he just his promos are just coming from somewhere else completely. Really cool. It's character from a movie. How fun was that for you guys to stand there looking as creepy as you did in the background while he's rocking in that chair and the fireflies are all out in the crowd and everything?
It was surreal, especially like you said, when we were doing in arena and like the lights were down and the fireflies were out with the cell phone lights, and then people used to say, "Well, man, don't you want to talk more?" And I was like, "Are you insane? Like, I'm gonna this guy's gonna talk for 10 minutes and they're gonna hand me the microphone? No fucking way."
Yeah, I mean, who's gonna? Why you don't want to grab the mic after Austin cuts his 316 promo because it's just, yeah.
So again, that was People, are you sure you don't? No, I'm okay. There'll be a time maybe when I have to, but for now I'm okay. But yeah, he would. I mean, he would say some shit that like I said, I wasn't sure wasn't true or that was made up or written. I don't know. Like, I was like, man, is he okay?
So you go through all of that. You guys have matches with the Shield, with the Usos, like we talked about. All the great teams have all these great matches and everything. You don't win the tag team titles, which boggled my mind. I couldn't get over why they didn't put the titles on you guys, just the way you look and the way everything. So now, fast forward, here we are, the Bludgeon Brothers. You got the kick-ass music, that one chord change, man, yeah. It's so badass. And finally, you get the tag team title. So if we're keeping score here, you've now been IC champion and tag team champion. That's pretty stout.
Also, I'm a 2-time tag team champion in WWE history because, and it's kind of a slap in the face, but when Randy and Bray became champions, I was somehow still a part of that, and they made us Freebird rules.
Yeah,
Freebird rule, brother.
Yeah.
I was recognized as a champion, so then I had 2 tag matches with Randy, and we lost them both. That was my first run with the title.
Oh, but that also reminds me of the match you had with Randy.
Oh, I love that match.
That was a great match.
That guy's, I don't know, man. He's fucking good. And he has his own style, his own pace, and I didn't really believe in the pace because I'm stupid. But, man, it's unbelievable.
It's a very strange thing, his pace, that it works the way it does, and I think it's because he doesn't think about it. I think it's just intangibly there. Him and Jay had a great chemistry because Jay, had such an engine that he'd pick up the pace and speed it up and knew when it needed to be. And Randy doesn't know how good he is.
I think he might.
You think he does now? Okay, he doesn't know why he's as good as he is. He just, I
was going to say that bus he rides around on, I think, tells him how good he is. Are people listening to this? We're just having a conversation, right?
No, yeah. Nobody listens to this. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, it'll be edited for your safety.
No, I don't care.
Although we did miss one week because of Jay, and we got a lot of angry feedback from the hosers. They were angry.
I mean, Jay doesn't know how to run a podcast, or I don't know what else are you doing in your life right now that you can't get shit done?
I can't talk about it. I can't talk about the stuff I'm doing. It's top secret. I actually am busy, believe it or not. I actually do have some shit going on.
All right.
I've been home 1.5 days in the last 3+ months. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's preparing for hockey pool this year.
So. Fantasy hockey.
Well, that too.
Fantasy hockey,
I mean, that's another thing that kind of bonds us because we like to see how insane, well, more insane because he's crazy anyway, but what's his name?
Sammy?
The French kid. Sami Zayn.
The French kid.
We like to see how much we can drive him crazy by vetoing trades and stuff. And
well, don't tell me you do it.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be
He's probably figuring out how he can make a trade.
Yeah. So
he's going to be as bored as Jay, though. He's got 2 torn labrums right now, so he's going to be chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I asked to get, when I got my knee fixed, I asked him to fix the other one, and the doctor said, "No, we don't do that. We only fix one at a time." And I hear Sammy's going, "Oh, he's getting one fixed, and then he's getting the other one fixed." I said, "What the fuck? I could have got 2. I could have gotten both fixed." He said, "Well, then you won't be able to move." I was like, "I can't move with one leg."
Maybe it's different for upper limbs than lower limbs.
Yeah, and he doesn't really work out anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Tough room. So hey, where are you living now?
I'm still in Rochester. I lived down here for a couple years. Yep, lived down here for a couple years for Tampa for developmental. Then we moved to Orlando the week the PC opened, and then we got called up that week. So I spent a week in the performance center, and then had a lease for a year. So we stayed for a year, and then I moved the family right back up, much to my wife's behest.
Yeah.
So actually, tomorrow I think we're going to Orlando to look at another house for vacation and rental purposes, so I can kill 2 birds with one stone.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice. There you go. Yeah.
How's Clearwater treating you?
Clearwater's great. I'm actually in my mother's retirement community right now.
Nice.
So I fit in great here.
Yeah.
So hold on a second. Wait. So how's that work? You walking down the street in this retirement community, looking just fucked.
I mean, they have top-notch security here on Top of the World, but they do let me in. Nope. I mean, and to be fair, nobody's really down here right now because it's summer, so they only come down in winter.
Yeah. Snowbirds.
So.
Fair enough.
I'm in my retirement community right now. It's a little shuffleboard.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Just the thought of you playing shuffleboard.
Dude, I love shuffleboard. Me and my wife were talking about it. I think they took the courts out because we drove by the other day and they weren't there.
Huh.
And I'm a little upset about it.
Wow. They're trying to get rid of you. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, they do it.
Hey, let me ask you a question. We won't keep you forever because obviously you're on vacation with your family.
Please keep me.
But I had a question for you. Like Adam said, when we talk to you and put you over, when I'm not putting myself over, we put you over a little bit on the podcast.
Right.
Saying it's believable where we could see you being an opponent for Taker at WrestleMania, like that level of talent that you have. Are those still your goals? Like, do you still want to raise your elevate your own status and become like a fixture, like move your way up to a main event guy? Is that a very real possibility for you, or are you just, what are your goals still here?
That is 100% my goal. I mean, I am dying to be a world champion, a singles world champion. The taste of it that I got with the Intercontinental title and then the run against Randy and stuff like that, I feel like by no doubt I could be there and do it. I don't know what the path will be or if that path will ever present itself here or elsewhere. I don't know, but that is by far my goal. And it's kind of hard because you think, how disappointed will I be if that doesn't happen, and you have to go back to just kind of enjoying the things that you have. But at the same time, yeah, I'm dying to do that. I believe in myself to the point that I can be that guy. And sometimes it hurts being told that by guys like you and if you read Twitter and you get told that, because then you start to believe it a little too much, and it can become detrimental. But at the same time, I believe it in myself. So
no, I don't think it is detrimental. I think you got to think you're the best guy there, and that's what I felt like. I felt when every time I went out there, I felt nobody's going to outwork me and nobody's going to have a better match than me. That was my mindset, whether it happened or not. That's the mindset I took to the ring, and I think you have to have that belief in yourself, because if you don't, nobody else is going to.
Right. And again, I'll do whatever I can to put myself in that position. Take more bullets out of their gun whenever this run ends. But at the same time, I'm not going to push to end this, because it's a good thing for me.
Yeah.
And so it's just, like, I just can't, but man, I can't express enough how bad I do want that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and every time you've been put in the position, you're hitting home runs. And that's always been the thing that I've been saying. It's like, man, I truly think put you in there with anybody and it's going to be good, but especially a guy like Taker, because you're safe. And the match you guys can have, I don't know. I've just always pictured that as a great WrestleMania match. So he's back around more, so who knows?
If that happens, I'll buy 3 houses. Again, that's kind of now having a family and a wife and all this stuff, like as an adult, which I never thought I would be. The name of the game is to make and save money, and just elongating it as long as possible and avoiding that release. And but again, man, people ask me that all the time about the single stuff, and I don't know how to put it nicely, but man, do I fucking want it.
Well, yeah, and that's great. It's good, to have that drive and that kind of incentive to still kind of keep biting for kind of thing. But also a great mentality of, we got a good thing going here. Let's ride this as long as we can until the wheels fall off, and then we'll put the wheels back on and do something else.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I had to relearn last year when the wheels did fall off, and I just would be requesting dark matches every single week just to wrestle. And, it was just, what do we do? And then trying to figure that out, and then finally being presented with this idea, and it's like, okay, let's do it.
Well, like Jay said, know you're on vacation. Don't want to keep it too long. We've blown a lot of smoke up your ass. We've buried Jay, which is good. I feel like we hit all the key ingredients to this podcast. Jay got buried, you got put over, and mission accomplished.
Well, I'll put myself over enough.
When are you going to have me and Randy on to discuss our match?
No, I'll probably have him on to discuss our match, since those were better.
Yeah, of course. Hey, and when I was having that match, I knew that was coming. I watched your guys' entire series and actually stole one of the RKO fake-out counters from it. So
oh, really? Wow.
You can have them.
Thanks, buddy. It's kind of a bummer too, because obviously, and Adam and I talked about with how good the tag team scene is right now too. We were running through all the teams that we could have, Edge and Christian could have had with, and one of the ones we said was Bludgeon Brothers. Even promo wise, the characters that we were against, the kind of serious monster guys you were, and the dynamic in the ring, it just would have been magic, I think. So it's and unfortunately, I don't think we ever had a chance to be in the ring together.
Well, we were supposed to do a house show loop, and that was literally the week you left.
That I got hurt.
It was supposed to be me and Rowan versus, I can't remember who you were with.
Huh. We
were going to do a tag loop, and I was super excited about it, and then you fucked off.
Yeah, I think I was like, they're like, you're wrestling at Harper and Rowan. I was like, oh, my back's killing me. I need to go home.
That trick back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We actually joke about that with Kane recently, because Kane came back and he's hurt and got hurt, and we joked that he did it to himself because they gave him the creative of, oh yeah, you're going to work with the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
He goes,
no, but you know what Jay did? Hey, wait, am I going over?
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah,
my back's killing me.
Classic Jay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's classic. Yeah.
Job flew Jay.
Yeah. Well, on the good news, Maple Leafs are going to be good this year.
They should be. Does John Tavares play defense?
They might not need defense. They have so much offense.
They tried that last year and didn't work out.
Yeah, well, they didn't have John Tavares last year, did they?
That's true.
Right. All right, buddy. Well, hey, we really appreciate you coming on. We wanted to have you on for a long time. Somebody dropped the ball the last couple weeks.
I mean, you've never reached out before.
Well, I actually invited. I was the one that invited you. You were my get, as we say on this podcast. But no, appreciate it, man. Enjoy your time with your family. Again, we think you're super talented, and no doubt that you're going to continue to go places and continue to move up. You're just too talented, and I always have been a firm believer that you can't deny talent forever. So I think that you're going to do some big things, buddy.
Thank you very much, guys. It means a lot coming from you, too.
Thanks, man. And you already have done big things.
I know, bigger things. I'm saying, I mean, the things that he talked about wanting to do for himself in his career. That's what I'm talking about.
Just busting your chops. All right. All right.
Here's a cane for you.
We're like Statler and Waldorf. Suck it. Yeah. All right, man. Go play some shuffleboard.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy.
See you,
Talk
buddy.
Soon.
Take care.
That was fun.
Yeah, good old Harper. Good dude.
Good old Harper. Good old Harper.
Talented. Super talented cat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, very, very, very talented guy.
And sometimes too, when you get there for a long time, your perspective changes on things. You mature. You grow older. You become a veteran, and you understand that. There's going to be ebbs and flows, right? And then how you deal with those and how you move on and how you continue to have a career and a long career where when the good times or the times where something super great is happening, you capitalize that and then try to ride that momentum.
Yeah, not everybody does that though.
Yeah.
And so it's speaks to his attitude that's how he's doing it. And that makes for longevity. The people that are there for a long time, there's a reason.
Yep.
But yeah, super talented guy. I've said that from the first time I saw him work. This guy's something special. You don't expect that kind of work out of a guy that looks like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And just really, really, really good stuff. And again, that's not, Rowan is great too.
Yeah, he is.
Really, and to Luke's point, how big he truly is. I don't think anyone understands that. But yeah, exciting to see where they're going to keep going and who they get to work between the Bar, between the Usos. There's a SmackDown Tag Team Tournament. Your prize is you get to work the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah. Well, no, it is a prize because they're fucking good. So
true. Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Be fucking prize for me to fucking slap your ass right now.
That would be a prize for you, is what you're saying.
So
what you are saying, what you just said is a prize would be to smack my ass. So
no,
you
took
are
it out of
saying
context.
that for you. No, I don't think I did.
No. I was saying it was. The prize would be.
It's not a prize for me. I've never said that I wanted my ass smacked by you. You just consistently say that you want to smack my ass. You have a fixation with my beautiful, beautiful buttocks, and for whatever, it's pretty. It's pretty. I get it. It's I
want to sweaty palm slap your ass.
Ugh. Why are your palms sweaty?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up. Try to entertain these fucking marks, They expect this sort of shit.
fucking marks. Yeah. Hey, by the way, did you see the... Speaking of fucking marks, did you see the two guys in Grapevine that got out in front of the Grapevine, Texas sign and small packaged each other and hooked the feet, by the way?
Oh, let me tell you something right now, brother. Christian showed me that on his Twitter machine, brother. Oh, I don't appreciate you coming mocking me in my own town, brother. Oh, that's my move, brother. Oh, that's called gimmick infringement where I come from, brother. Oh, you don't walk into my home. You don't stroll into my hometown of Grapevine, Texas. You don't break down the city walls, brother. And you don't put nobody in a small package in my town. Oh, I'm coming for you, whoever you were. I'm looking for you unless you buy my new T-shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com. Because your plan ain't working when Paul Smackage is a lurking.
Whoa. I love the fact that when Paul has, his synapses aren't firing, he just goes, oh.
No, it's
like he's just.
No, it's like Macho Man going.
He's stupid,
yeah.
right?
No, it's like Macho Man.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's like that. That's his.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I also heard from Flip Sunset's people from his team that he may make an appearance on the pod next week.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Back in town, huh?
Yeah. He's making his bi-monthly appearance. Like I said, he's treating himself like Hulk Hogan back in WWF Saturday Night Main Event days.
Huh.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I gotta go. Got shit to do, man.
Yeah.